there. Yo, I did that. No, close. We're here. Boom. Events. Watch the live stream. 6 minutes. I just want to do it, man. I feel like that like Google makes this easy for me, but it's never easy enough. There we go. I think we're live. So events. We're here. Watch the live 6 minutes.
All right. So I'm going to
the live stream. 6 minutes. Yeah, you got to mute it. So how do I make you visible is my question here. So I have so many questions. Present to everyone.
Just saw me for a split.
Well, how do I do it so that we're like split? I don't know how to do this. There you are. God damn it.
I gotta turn that off. I cannot watch. Or maybe I can just scroll down so I can see questions.
How do I make it so that it's the two of us? This is what I want to see. Yo, there's got to be some sort of like Logitech save. Yo, come on, Google. Help me out here. Here's the problem with when you like have never done this before. 5 viewers. Yo, it's happening. 5 viewers. Yo, there's got to be a way to show both of us, right? I'm looking at chat. Live chat.
I mean,
Scott, hey, you are live. Yo, Scott, I know. You and me both. So does anyone know how to make the live stream show both of us at one time? There's got to be a way. Google runs the universe. Hangout show both people at once. I'm gonna go to Google to find out what they have to say.
What their solution is.
Yeah.
Technically, we're still not supposed to be on for 5 more minutes.
Yeah, that's what I figured. We got 5 minutes, and when I post it to YouTube, I'm gonna chop this off.
Absolutely.
Complete video guide. Yo. Video calls up to 10 people are standard. Really though, what are the benefits? Blah blah blah. What will you need to get started? Oh my god. Yeah, we're all past this, man. This is the rudimentary stuff.
Google Hangouts picture in picture.
Did you find that? Does that exist? You have to hit the split screen button. Scott Tate's all over this. Where is that, Scott? Split screen button. Screen share? No, that's not it. Scott, I'm counting on you, buddy. Hi, Eric. Nice job. Could you please leave this one up? I won't be able to see it till tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it up so you can see it. It's right above F1. F1? What? No, that's not right. What is F1? What does that mean? Scott. Scott, help me out, buddy. It's right above F1. Control room. There you are, man. Hide from broadcast. I can eject you from the... Oh, he was joking. Scott, I was like, I thought you knew what you were doing. I was like totally on board with you, but he was kidding with me. Man. Yeah, I know. What's that?
I said that's disappointing, Scott.
I know. I was like, yo, the split screen button, where is it? Oh, that's exactly what I needed. Opening camera.
If I'm not on screen, can they even hear me?
Yes. You guys can hear him, right? Yo, cameraman. Okay. What the fuck is cameraman? Oh, wait. Cameraman. No. No. Oh, what? I really help me out here. Yes. All right. So how do I we got 2 minutes to figure this out before it officially starts. Who all right. All right. I'm looking at it. So it's just you, man. And who here is a YouTube guru? Who knows? Hi, Hannah. What's up, guys? How do we split this screen up here? This is just me winging it here. Cameraman, as guest join, hide their audio. No. Broadcast a large video that I can see. What's up, guys? What's up? Muted when they join. No. Control room. Both are visible. Who knows how to split a screen? That's right. Like the birthday selfie vid, Alan. I thought that it was like it promised nudes and didn't deliver.
I was in the suit to be
it was clickbait, man. It was like everything in my Snapchat feed.
Like I had to like skip half a day of work yesterday. I got sick from that.
You got sick from the cold or from diving in standing water?
Probably from the cold, and my kids were sick earlier too, so that contributed.
Yeah, that's probably it, right?
Yeah, but jumping in 30-degree water didn't help.
No. Can you guys see me? Does anyone know anything about Google Hangouts? No, because I'm looking at it and you cannot see me. So how the heck? Yo, I'm just gonna Google Hangouts split screen. Split. Yeah, someone else did it first. How do I do a split screen? What? Get out of here. Use software?
Yeah, that's what I found.
In this image too, yes. Cameraman app. Which one? 2. All right, I got an idea.
Let's hear it.
No, I got this. I got this. I don't think that worked.
I've just got like I just see my frozen face up here on the.
You're frozen?
Yeah. It's not a good face either.
All right, so you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to switch it back and forth to whoever's talking, and we'll just go from there. So, all right, so let me just. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. The setting where it changes back and forth for who's speaking. How do you do that? There's got to be a way to do that, right? Oh, you're free. You are freezing a little bit. I see. Hangouts switch back and forth when. Oh, we're 2 minutes late here. We got to get this show on the road, guys. 7 easy Google Hangouts tips from Google Docs. Let's do this thing. Collapse the bars. No. Limit your bandwidth. No. Stop Hangouts from constantly switching between talking participants. Click on the person to set focus. 3 more people. To get back to audios, click on the same person from the visual attendees. What? Yo. All right. So we're, you know what?
We're letting down 17 people right now.
What's that?
So we're letting down 17.
We're not letting them down. What's up, guys? It's Eric with special guest Alan Brock. We're here. We're doing it. we're gonna talk a little bit. So kind of what I wanted to do is we are going to get into a couple of questions for each other, kind of get into who we are, what we do. You guys know, I assume. But I'm going to ask him some questions. He's going to ask me some questions. Then if you guys have any questions for the two of us, shoot them our way, and we'll do our best to answer it. I assume Alan's working on something of a curfew here, and as am I. So probably won't be a super late night. But so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Alan?
Yeah, so I'm Alan Brock, and if you see my channel here on YouTube, you know me as probably a guy that goes and hikes and shoots 4x5. That's primarily the film I shoot. I do have a 35 millimeter camera. But yeah, as far as YouTube goes, that's who I am.
What 35 millimeter camera do you have?
A Canon FTB.
Is that the one that you took that photo in the kitchen, the black and white?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember. That was a nice photo.
Didn't you do a review on that camera? Or something?
I have a Canon FTB. I did family portraits for a friend of my mother's, and they didn't pay me, but they're like, oh, he likes old cameras. We've got this old piece of crap camera in the attic. So they gave me a Canon FTB with 2 lenses. It's not in super good working condition, and the lens has some issues, but I took it out and shot it. The meter's inoperative, but it was free, which is, and I like the feel of that camera. It's a giant 35 millimeter film camera. Like it
weighs a lot more than I thought it was going to. So I was going to take it hiking with me, but it just weighs too much. But that camera, that's how I found your channel.
Awesome.
Fully manual 35 millimeter cameras, and I came across that one and then just YouTubed it, and yeah, that's originally how I found your channel.
Well, I guess my question for you would be the first question that pops in my head is how did you start shooting film? What prompted it, and like what I guess what was that initial discovery that you made that made you think like, hey, I would like to pick up a 4x5 camera and shoot some photos?
Yeah, so it was a process. One of my good friends, well, to back up a little bit, I shoot weddings and stuff on digital from time to time.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah. And
a guy I shoot with a lot, he won like one of those storage bidding things.
like Storage Wars.
Yeah. So he won one of those, and it had the Mamiya. What is that? The RZ67, the tank of a camera.
Sure. The nicer, the newer one, the RZ.
Yeah.
That's a great camera though.
Yeah. He won that and a ton of gear in it, and so he decided to start shooting film. And like any good friend, I gave him crap about it. I was like, film doesn't even exist anymore. Why are you shooting it?
Sure.
And this was only about 5 years ago, so I gave him a hard time.
Sure. It exists even less now than it did then.
Yeah. So he won this, and then I started watching him shoot, and it was like really methodical, and it really appealed to me. So I kind of got interested in it then, and then I found some images from Rodney Lowe Jr. He's a landscape photographer that used to do 8x10 film. Okay. And of course, I saw the images, and I was like, "Well, what gear does he have?" Because we all know gear makes the cameras.
Yeah, I mean that's the gear is the most important thing, right?
Yeah, so it was large format. I started looking it up, and I didn't even know those cameras still existed. So found out that it was a really slow and thoughtful way to shoot, and that just kind of appealed to the way I work. So yeah, that's kind of the process. What about you?
Well, so well, you're about the same age as me, so you're a little older than I am. But like, I initially when the first photos that I took in my life, when I got a camera from my parents and took photos, was initially on film. It was some like Kodak or Canon instant, kind of consumer grade camera. And then I ended up, I bought a Canon T2i, a 550D, so that I could shoot video, because I went to school for writing, and I wrote a script to a short film, and I wanted to film it. And so I went out, I bought the Canon 550D, the T2i, and a 50 millimeter 1.8 lens, and went and shot some video with it, and it ended up shooting stills kind of along the way. And I basically, because I do everything, I just like to be a contrarian. So I bought that camera, I bought a 50 millimeter lens, put it in manual, and I was like, I'm gonna teach myself how to use this thing, because why else would I buy it? So I'm just gonna learn manual. I'm gonna figure this stuff out. And so I shot a bunch with that. I ended up doing like modeling photos on Model Mayhem for girls in the Buffalo area and stuff. and doing some weddings, things like that. And when I decided to finish my degree, I was like, I'm going to go and I'll take a photography class because I need to take a class to finish my like visual, my art gen ed. So I took a photography class and I was disappointed that it was only film. There was no digital content. So you had to be like a photography major to do digital stuff. So my mom gave me her old Minolta X370 with the 50 millimeter 1.9 lens or 1.7 lens. And we shot exclusively Tri-X 400, and we developed it ourselves and we printed it ourselves. And I was just completely smitten with the physicality of the whole process, the kind of the tactile nature of it. And beyond that, like when you hear yourself talk a lot, you realize you say things a lot. I say beyond that constantly anyway. So I loved it, but beyond that, there was a look to the photographs, especially when you printed them yourself, when you enlarged them yourself, that was so unlike digital and so beautiful in its own way that it really captured my interest. And I was like, how can I pursue this in a way that's going to, give me that look, but maybe with a little more fidelity, a little higher quality gear. And I looked, and this is embarrassing, but there's an article on Ken Rockwell's website. Yeah, see, he's the worst.
Right? I've looked at Ken Rockwell's stuff before.
Yeah, his photos are so bad. So like, why anyone would take his advice, I don't know. Like, he shows his albums, you're like, you're terrible at this, but apparently you made it go with it. You makes money. But like, but he had an article about shooting 4x5 film and the cost to get into it. And I was at work and I was like reading it on my phone and getting really like excited about the idea. So I went on eBay and I bought I was drinking and I found a Crown Graphic 4x5 camera for I think $175. So it was the Crown Graphic, the lens, and 3 film holders. The lady called them photographic slides, and she had no idea what it was. I got it. It smelled like cigarettes and cigars. I cleaned the ground glass off, and I went out and took photos with it and just kind of fell in love with the arduousness of the process, the difficulty of the process, but also with the quality of the images that you get out of film. That photo I sent you, I sized that down to 2400 by 1920 that I just took. That's a medium format photo. I scanned that thing at like 9,000 pixels by, it's a giant image, right? Like, and when you 5 negative, even on my flatbed scanner, you just get this enormous, beautiful image. And then you get something like 8x10 and it's just bananas, though 8x10 film costs $1,000 a box at this point. But yeah, I love it. I love the whole thing. I love collecting the gear. I know that's not like the most noble path, but I love that you can buy different cameras for not a ton of money. And then every once in a while you stumble across a piece of gear that's just magical. And to me, the biggest one was that Pentax 6x7 with that 105 2.4 lens. It just makes magic. Like, the photos that come out of that thing are incredible. So yeah. That was a long answer, much longer than yours.
You're more interesting than I am.
No, I'm more interesting, just less concise, I think.
A Ken Rockwell article is the reason I have my Shinhao 4x5.
Okay. Oh yeah. Shinhao, because he talked about well, didn't Ken Rockwell talk about the wasn't the Shinhao, was it? It was the one he recommended was the Japanese one. The I don't know. His photos are not very good though. Like when you look at his his albums. But what so I guess my question, my second question, what prompted you to start a YouTube channel?
Well, I saw what Ben Horn was doing and I was like, I'm just gonna do the exact same thing. Yeah. I'm gonna go to Zion and do the exact same thing. So yeah, when you shoot large format, I mean, you've got a lot of spare time on your hands. So sure. One thing I was really bad at when I shot digital is I would go to a place and regardless of the light, I would try to take a picture and I would just murder it in software afterward.
Post.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Embarrassing time in my history as a photographer. But yeah, so you've got a lot of a lot of free time on your hands. So I figured, I got to fill it with something.
Sure.
And, in all seriousness, when I was getting into large format, I knew a lot about cameras at the time, but when I got that, I was like, wow, I'm really lost here. I need to go to YouTube and get some knowledge. And so, just typed in large format and found some tutorials and stuff, but then eventually came across Ben's channel and just really enjoyed the way he shot and the way he captured the spirit of the places that he went. Like,
sure,
even though I've never been to Death Valley, he goes there. I've never been. I feel like I know Death Valley, and that type of video really appealed to me. And I was like, well, maybe I can do some of that for the places that I go. So it started as that, and then lately it's creative for me. It's fun. I don't have that many creative outlets with kids anymore, so it's just something fun to do. I like it's a challenge. I like trying to make my videos interesting now, and so I don't know. It's just, it started out as one thing, and now I just kind of enjoy the process of creating.
Awesome. That's right, Quinn. Takihara. I just he knew the Quinn Rockwell. Takihara. Yeah, no, it's that last video, man. The drone footage, I sent you an email about it. That drone footage was something else. Like, it was really, really beautiful. I think it's worth noting, to me too. So, like, you said you were gonna do exactly the same thing as Ben Horton. You're gonna go to Zion, you're gonna shoot that stuff. When you sent me your 5 photos, the 2 that I thought were the most affecting and the best, and it was easy to me, were the last 2. The one that was a landscape that I feel like you probably know well and it's a part of you in a way that maybe Utah isn't, and then the one of your daughter, of course, which obviously is going to be. So I think that personal. I think when you sent those to me months ago, I said that in the email. I was like, I really like those last 2. Like, those are those 2. You could tell, like, when I take photos, my favorite photos that I take are the ones of, like, the Buffalo, the buildings in Buffalo, and like the kind of the Rust Belty, like kind of blue collar, faded glory. Those are what I enjoy, because that's what that's where I lived. Out here, I don't even know what the hell to take pictures of, but it's up in the hinterlands.
The Smokies are growing on me. Like, before, it was just so crowded and stuff, but now I've kind of learned how to avoid the crowds and learn to appreciate, because it's what I grew up with. So I guess it's what I see all the time. So I guess I don't know, going out west was just completely blew my mind at how different it was.
It gets crowded out there. It gets
in some spots it gets crowded out west. Like, that's what people like when I go to Zion. They say,
I meant in the Smokies. Does it get crowded? I know Zion gets packed.
Yeah, so the Smokies are the most visited national park in our system by far.
More so than, like, Grand Canyon and
and it's not even close.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like I think the Grand Canyon may be second, but so this random stat that always stuck with me is maybe 2 or 3 years ago, the Smokies had more visitors than the next 3 parks combined.
Really? So I had no idea. I didn't even it never even occurred to me. The thing about the Grand Canyon, and I think this is probably true of most national parks, is if you walk 100 feet away from the main exhibits or off the path in any direction, you're all of a sudden there's like 2 people with you, and you're pretty much by yourself. You leave the crowd of gawkers, just walk a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're on your own. You might as well be off in the woods. That was my experience at the Grand Canyon. I did the Kaibab Trail. And even in, like, the afternoon, just lines of people up against the railing looking in. You just walk a little bit over to the entrance of the trail, and all of a sudden it's just a few people.
Yeah. See, but in the Smokies, like, the foliage is so dense and stuff that you can't really explore that much. You have to stay on the trail.
Okay.
Now, not many people hike the trails. Most people just prefer to drive and like these little pull-offs on overlooks and stuff. But yeah, it's gridlock in the fall. Like you can it can take 30 minutes to drive 1 mile. That's not exaggerating.
Okay.
It's
that sounds terrible. All right. So yeah, so you decided to do that. Yeah, I mean the channel. I'll say this: your channel has grown by leaps and bounds. Like you started your initial videos, like right when you started, were
terrible.
No, I was gonna say they were a lot more sophisticated than mine. Like my first videos were just like me in my apartment in Buffalo. Like I got this 4x5 camera. This opens up here, and this is where the film goes in. You know, like and what I had people like comment like, "Oh, your RB67 video where you showed me how to load film in that." That was such a great video. It's so useful. And I was like, I was so drunk when I did that. Like I was just like, it was like Saturday night, and I was home, and I was just like, I'm gonna video on YouTube, and I did it, and people liked it. So yours were definitely better than mine, like right off the bat. But your new ones, I would say what I like about them, without this turning into like a weird like complimenting fest, but like what I really like about your newer content is it's less like you're doing like, hey, I'm gonna be like Ben Horn, I'm gonna do his thing, and more like you're doing, I'm gonna be Alan Brock, and I'm gonna do this kind of creative kind of exploration of like, you know, my own self and my own artistic side and stuff. So I appreciate that. I like that. And I love the drone footage. I thought that the one you did with the bridge and everything was stunning, really great. And I want to buy a drone. I just need some money.
So. Do it. It's fun. About that drone footage, that I think it's the second shot on that video where I'm pulling back underneath the bridge. And like at the end of that shot, I end up right beside a tree, almost clip it. I didn't know the tree was there. I almost wrecked
You almost wrecked your $1,000 drone right in the river.
On its second ever flight. Like if you watch the video, I come so close to some branches on that tree, and I never even knew it was there.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. I actually, since nobody asked, I'm going to share this anyway. I started my YouTube channel, and I know I've mentioned this, but I started mine because I was bored. I had free time, and when I initially started shooting film, I was watching a ton of photography content, some that I like, some that I don't like at this point, but I really like the Digital Rev videos, even though they got a little repetitive after a while. I just thought they were fun. I like the host. I like the kind of irreverent perspective and stuff. And actually, weirdly enough, coincidentally, they've been doing a lot of analog content lately, but at the time they just did digital stuff. And I would look for stuff. I was like, let me find some content on the RB67. Let me find some content on 4x5 photography. And the videos were either like really old guys explaining the intricacies of the mathematics of like camera movements on a 4x5.
Those are horrible.
Yeah. And I'm like, what is this man talking about? Like, or like silent footage of like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs with like white noise in the background, like just adjusting his camera for 15 minutes. And I was like, this is not like, where is the things that I want to watch? Like, you know, and Ben Horn was the first one that I found, and I ended up watching like all of his videos, like even the old ones where it was just him with like his, you know, whatever webcam. What's up, Dennis? Dennis sent me a camera. Dennis is good people. and he commented on my mugs. But yeah, it was just like a dearth of like film photography content. And I figured like, you know what, like maybe there's a niche. Maybe I can do videos on film stuff and put them up, and maybe people will watch. And I did them, and you know, I had the 5D, so I had a little, you know, 5D Mark II, so I had a decent camera. Went out and I bought a video mic for it, a Rode video mic, and decided to shoot some stuff. And I feel like I'm getting better with each one. You know, getting a better grip on what makes a video good, what makes it more enjoyable. But it's a learning experience. That's part of the fun, and the feedback and the little community that sprung up has been surprising. You know, people say things are humbling, and I kind of roll my eyes at that usually, but like the idea that anybody would want to watch my videos is still bizarre to me in a way where I'm like, well, thank you, but like, you shouldn't be doing something more useful with your time? Like, but I love it. Like, it's the best. So I really appreciate that. And
have you been recognized by a stranger like out in public?
Yes. Weirdly enough, like a year ago, I was in Buffalo at the photography store. I was at this place called Delaware Camera in downtown Buffalo, and I was going there to buy some film, and I was there with my dad, and I was walking around, and the kid behind the counter goes, "Hey, how are you?" And I was like, I'm good. And he's like looking at me like I thought he recognized me from somewhere or something, and he's going for a long time, and he goes, is your name Eric? And I said, yeah. He goes, Eric Wallstrom? I said, yeah. Like, did you go to high school in Hamburg, or what's the? He goes, do you have a YouTube channel? And I was like, yes. And he's like, oh yeah, I watched your brownie video and like blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, that's so wild. Like, and my dad was there, so it was like I totally didn't make this up. Like, I have a witness. I have someone who saw it. It was a really strange experience. I haven't had it happen since then, obviously. 5,000 subscribers and 4,000 subscribers. It's not half of them abroad. It's not a huge circle of influence, but it was weird. It was an interesting thing. It was kind of cool. So yeah, it has happened. Have you ever been noticed in public?
Yeah, several times, only because in Zion, I mean, like, there's only a handful of people a handful of photographers that go out there, and usually everybody watches YouTube videos. This year, though, I went with my parents, and somebody asked if I was Alan Brock in front of my parents, so now they think I'm famous.
So they know you're a big deal, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, I told them that, but now that other people know that, it's
try to convince them for some time.
Yeah, it was fun, though. I mean, like, I have no illusion of my fame, but it's like you said, though, it's a cool community. I think generally film photographers are cool people, so.
I think so. I think I would compare film photographers to long distance runners. Like, I've always thought like long distance runners seem like nice people to me, like in general, like, and not just because like I used to do that, but like I just think like anybody who takes the time to invest in something that's not the path of least resistance, something that's difficult, where the results and the rewards are kind of nebulous. You have to kind of create your own rewards from it. I think that there's something to be said for that. Like it's one thing, to go out and buy a digital camera and snap 1 million pictures and throw them on Facebook and be like, hey, I'm a photographer now. Like it's another thing entirely to do. There's a certain amount of like look inward with film photography where you're doing it for yourself. You know what I mean? You're not doing it for the accolades. You're doing it because you appreciate the media. And if you're me, you're doing it because it's hard and you just like to be a difficult person about everything. It's like, I came to the conclusion, it's like everyone's shooting pictures. You can take pictures with your cell phone. What can I do that's difficult? I'm gonna have to do wet plate eventually, like just to prove a point. Like, I didn't watch Fight Club for a decade because everyone told me I needed to watch Fight Club. I was like, no, I'm gonna watch it. And then finally I watched it. I was like, that's pretty good. But like,
what you need to do is, this is digital, but you need to take up astrophotography.
What is that now? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, so attaching a camera to a telescope and taking pictures of.
Astrophotography. Yeah.
Yeah, astrophotography.
I did star trails when I was in British Columbia. When I was in Kamloops, I took photos of star trails, and they were neat. I mean, I used to use Magic Lantern on my 5D, and I basically burned out the sensor with super long exposures on that. But it was within the warranty period. I deleted all the software and they replaced it for me. But it was, so I did astrophotography with that. I would love to do it. Have you done it before?
Yeah, I've got the whole setup. Before I had kids, used to do it a lot.
When was that?
Oh goodness, 2011. It was before I started shooting film. So, but yeah, I mean, I'd take my stuff to a random, relatively dark sky site and I could run it all off of these huge batteries. And so I'd get out, set up, telescope, attach had a Canon 7D, and it just take hours long exposures. And then, but that's why it's so difficult, because sometimes you would spend an entire night out there and come away empty-handed.
Okay.
Just
because of conditions, or?
Yeah, and it's really finicky because, like I said, you're taking hour-long exposures, so your gear has to be perfectly dialed in where nothing drifts, shakes. But anyway, that's a random tangent.
No, it's not a tangent. That's cool. I would love to be. I'd love to explore it. I mean, I jokingly mentioned wet plate, but I'm really legitimately interested in learning to shoot wet plate, collodion. I just got a roll. Like I said, I just got a roll of Acros. I want to try some new films, but the one thing that really is disappointing to me that I feel like I missed the boat by a couple of years. Have you seen that photographer who went to the Congo and shot infrared film in the war zones in the jungle and shot photos? Have you seen those? No.
No.
Look it up, like Google it. I don't know, you can do it right now if you want. Like Google Congo infrared film. You can't buy it anymore, sadly, but his work is they're incredible. And it takes the Congo, which is just green, super green. And the weirdest part is that skin tones remain pretty much the same, and all the green becomes like purple and magenta, and it's really, really, really something else. It's pretty incredible, and you can't really find true infrared film anymore. It's pretty much a thing of the past, because obviously it was I think it had military applications, and that's no longer in the cards. So did you find it?
You can't get infrared film anymore?
Not true infrared. You can find stuff that like mimics it. I think Ilford makes like a fake infrared, and Lomography makes like a purple film that's supposed to ape the look of it, but I don't know. Well, have you shot any Lomography film? Do you know anything about their stuff?
No, I was going to ask you the same thing. So isn't their stuff kind of like not the most consistent in the world?
I don't know. Just in my head, I think it's probably crap. I have no idea. I'm of two minds with this. So like on one hand, I'm super, super psyched that young people who shop at Urban Outfitters and listen to How to Dress Well are on vinyl are buying film cameras and shooting film, because I love it. It's great. On the other hand, I worry that like Lomography is not the highest. It's more of like a gimmick than it is a legitimate and I might be wrong. So like if I'm wrong, I'm totally just I'm throwing that disclaimer out there. It could be great film, and I could be totally off base. But I worry that it's more of a shtick than it is anything, and it's for people who buy those like crappy turntables so they can play their favorite records on vinyl and act like they're I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this. It's just gotten insulting, so I'm going to cut it short. But
you told the many groups of people there.
Yeah. I see there's a conversation about underage drinking taking place in chat right now, so that's legitimately good. You don't want to go down that road. Well, I don't know, Alan. Do you have any questions before we open it up to people in chat? Any topics you want to broach? I know we discussed a couple of things briefly.
Yeah, so I don't know. Do you have any? I know you're doing your Velvia video. Any other YouTube projects in the works that aren't top secret?
Well, nothing's top secret. I'm a pretty much an open book. I always want people to know that I am actually doing stuff, because it's been a minute since I did my last one. I did a bunch of stuff today. So I recorded a Velvia, basically like an introduction, just the talking head thing. I'm going to do the actual photographs going forward from here. I actually just got some Velvia back on, is this it here? I don't even know where it is. I just got some Velvia back from the lab today, as well as that Acros 100. But I did that. I'm working on that. I did and this is kind of like whatever, but I did a patron only video today. Basically I bought some gear and some film and stuff using my Patreon funds, because that's what it's for, right? It's not for me to buy beer and gas money. So I bought some stuff with that, about half of it with patron funds and then half with my own money. And I did a video on the stuff that I got and just kind of going through it and stuff. I'm going to be doing an Acros 100 video because I got that developed and done. We had a viewer, I don't think he's here right now, but Victor Norgren, who, I don't know if you watch the viewer submission videos, he has all the very beautiful coworkers that he took photos of. That he's, you know what I'm talking about. I think he's in Sweden. I don't just know if every woman in Sweden looks like that, but
I don't remember the name of the photographer, but
you know, and if you follow him on Instagram, man, it's a consistent theme. But he sent me some film, actually. He sent me the Acros. He sent me some he sent me some Ilford 100 speed film. I can't even remember off the top of my head what kind of film it is, and the Ilford 50 speed film, which I'll have to go look and see. So I'm going to shoot all that stuff, get it developed, and I'd like to do a video on those. Dennis Takes Pictures, who's in the chat right now, sent me a camera to shoot and do a video on. It's a Voigtlander rangefinder. It's a really cool camera. So I'm going to buy some 35mm film and shoot that. I'd like to do a Fuji 400H video. I've got a lot of stuff I want to do. And without spoiling anything, I bought some large format film, and I'm going to be doing some large format portraits. Beyond that, I'm going home for Christmas. We're driving home to Buffalo. So I'd like to do some portraits and things like that. And my brother-in-law has promised to get me on top of some buildings to do some skyline photography on large format Ektar. So hopefully that's not just like too many things at once to spit at you. But I do have some, some whatever. What is in the fire? What do they say?
Irons.
Irons in the fire. I got some irons in the fire. I was like, pokers in the fire. What is it? What do you put? But I've got some irons in the fire right now. I work like 50 hours a week, so it can be difficult. But on my days, basically my days off are this stupid stuff. So, but I really enjoy it. So I'm hoping to have some really good content coming up soon. So yeah, what are you working on right now?
I actually already have another selfie video planned, which is, I think, by far my most important work. Do you know that video like doubled my previous first day high for views?
The birthday suit selfie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it was clearly like you put the most work into that one, if anything. You have multiple camera angles, you have drone shots, wearing a suit, you got sick.
From when I got to my friend's pond there, it took me an hour before I actually jumped in because I was filming stuff and my phone died and batteries were freezing. So,
what kind of phone do you have?
Just an iPhone 6. It's about 1.5 years old, and
I have too. I want to throw them on in the pond.
It's really getting unreliable. But
it just recently has started to like die on me. That's like these last couple updates. Yeah. But yeah, no, that video was great. It was really good. Did you upload? I guess this is a question. Do you share your photos anywhere, like on a photo sharing site or anything? Are you on Flickr or anything like that?
I have an ancient Flickr account. Actually, if you can find it, I don't even know what my screen name is anymore. It may be, it's either Alan Brock or Skiers for Life. I can't remember. But old stuff on there. But the only reason I use it is to like upload pictures there, and then like forums that use Blackboard, like the BB code. Mm-hmm. So I can use that. But really, I mean, outside of my website and Instagram, usually I just post my good photos, ones I take with my 4x5 on Instagram. Occasionally I'll throw some other things on there, but
sure. Yeah. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Where's it going at? Oh, yeah, back to the YouTube video. So I do have another selfie video planned, but I'm interested to see what Ben does first. So I'm going to let him try to come up with his selfie and go from there.
Well, I saw you. You left him that little note with his lucky numbers, and and everything in Zion. I don't. He's. I saw on. Was it on Twitter? He said he was going to respond with his own selfie video.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is
Yeah.
that correct? Yeah, he was. So he's not now, but Ben Horn sent me. So for the Velvia video, and I mentioned this briefly to you, but because my experience with Velvia has been spotty at best. Ben sent me a zip file of his photos that he took on Velvia to use to kind of show what it can do, because he's good with it, man. Like he takes some. I mean, his channel, you know, whatever you think about like the quality of his videos and the quality and the amount of work he puts in, and by that I mean, of course, obviously he puts in a ton, but you can't argue with the quality of his photos. Like his videos, obviously he puts a ton of work in. They've gotten so professional, but no matter what, you got to stop at like just his photos are gorgeous. Like there's a certain kind of like, I don't know, like Zen-like simplicity to them, where they're so they're beautiful, they're high resolution, they're stunning, but they're sort of the opposite of the stuff you see on like 500px, where it looks like, you know, 27 different exposures blended together and like a moon superimposed in the background with a dolphin jumping in front of it. You know, like there's something about them that's just incredibly appealing to me. Just, I don't know, on a simple level.
Well, like, and not to bash on 500px, but I'm going to bash on 500.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Like, my whole thing, and I think I did a video about this, but like, for instance, the actual reason I went to Zion, it wasn't to make videos. It was I came across one of his images from Zion.
Which one? You know?
Yeah, it's one he calls Paradise Cove. And like when he shows it on his website, it looks great, but he says it's actually horribly out of focus. But you know, being from the East, I had never seen anything like that. A river up against the sheer vertical canyon wall. Sure. And I didn't even know places like that existed. So just based on that picture, I was like, I've got to go visit Zion. But back, my point with that is like, with his pictures, you feel like you can go to a place and see what he took a photograph of. Now, obviously, it's composed in such a way that makes it a really appealing picture, but you get to these places or these images on 500px, and you're like, nothing in nature looks like that.
Sure, absolutely.
It's just so, it's gotten to a point, it's clownish. It's too much. And I don't know, I guess that's how you officially become old as a photographer. You're like, oh, what the kids are doing these days with their saturation and blending.
Well, I mean, to me, like if you're making digital art, great. You know what I mean? Like there's a place for that. And I'm totally on board with it. You know, whatever. Do you, man. You know, I'm a very like live and let live guy. I don't care. Like if you want to make digital art, you want to make something that's, you know, like you said, blending a bunch of images, that's superimposing the moon in, that's all that stuff. Like, great, whatever. But I hope that there is a place for capturing it in the camera, for recreating. Because to me, the cool aspect of photography is that mix of honesty and dishonesty, where you're you know, that transformative aspect, where you're capturing an image, and it is what you saw, but it's also a piece of art that's separate on its own, and kind of that amount of, that's kind of what I like about black and white, is it introduces this amount of surreality to images. I don't know if that's rambling or that makes any sense, but I like the idea of waiting to capture it in the camera, and for that object, you know, that negative, that slide film, whatever, that you have to have been with you when you took that image, you know, that it wasn't created on your computer. And if you want to create it on a computer, you know, God bless you. I don't, whatever, you know, live your life. But you know, it's like, why did this might be a bad example because it didn't make nearly as much money, but I like the new Mad Max movie a lot more than I like the Transformers movies. The stunts in the new Mad Max movie were people on real cars, like crashing cars and exploding stuff. Transformers doesn't feel like a real thing to me. It feels like it was built in a computer. There's a difference, you know what I mean? What's that?
I said because it was.
Yeah, but to me, like I like the punch of the reality of like that movie where they were really driving cars and really exploding stuff. And I just I I think that there'll always be room for honesty in art and creating something that's legitimate and that's not formulated in a computer. And maybe I'm naive, you know, because I look at the way like your average person looks at stuff, and I don't think that they see things exactly the same way I do. And you know, whatever, that's fine. You know, Transformers makes $1 billion. And if anyone here likes Transformers, it's fine. Like, I'm happy for you. I'm just, you know what I mean? Hopefully that makes some sense. I don't know.
Well, I mean, these things go in cycles. So, like when the digital revolution hit, there was like, you know, there was testing the boundaries. Like, what all can we do for this? How far can we push it in software? And you know, that's all great and everything. But now I think people are kind of shifting back, and maybe it's because I just pay attention to mainly film photographers here on YouTube. But I get the sense that there's this kind of push to go back to realism in images, and not just in photography too. I mean, look at, I'm a big Star Wars fan. Everybody got sick and tired of all the digital garbage of the prequel movies.
Well, can I ask you, what do you think of the prequels? Just overall.
I want them to be remade one day. Like, I'm sad that they exist. Like,
they're so bad. I spent like a year convincing myself that The Phantom Menace was actually good because I was 16 years old. I went to see it opening night. I was like, yeah, that was good. That was good. Barrel roll.
That's a neat trick. I remember in that movie, actually, when they were swimming underwater in the beginning, I'm like, huh, I'm not sure I like this. But, you know, you see that, and like I think like you and me, we both try to convince ourselves it was good because it was Star Wars. But then,
because you were so excited.
Yeah,
I loved it.
It's a new Star Wars. But then people really realized it was trash, and so with the Force Awakens, it was all practical, and then with Rogue One, a lot of it was practical. And
how was Rogue One? I heard mixed things.
I liked it. I wish that it was a prequel.
I really liked The Force Awakens. I loved it. I enjoyed it all the way through. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
This is a conversation about Star Wars you guys have joined in on. we might break into a little bit of photography talk, but really I just thought Daisy Ridley was incredibly charismatic as the lead in that film, and I just want to talk about that.
Yeah. Can't argue. Can't argue.
Welcome to our Star Wars chat. If you stay with me, I did buy a couple of mugs today for myself. I bought so you're probably too cool for this, but I bought a Star Trek mug, and I bought a Mega Man mug for myself to drink coffee from, so I can do it in style now going forward.
So, like, I keep holding this stylus up, and I see my smashed finger in the feed, so I'm going to try not to do that.
Yeah, because if there's something you definitely don't want to do, is you don't want people to see your smashed finger in a video on the internet, for sure. That's one thing that I would try to conceal from everyone if at all possible.
So yeah, I saw on Instagram where you bought the Mega Man mug. Yeah. I've never played Mega Man, but Star Trek, all over that.
Okay. All right. So this is just dork talk now. I really only watch Next Gen. That's really the only one I really like. But you know, Star Trek, and I watched all the old movies too when I was a kid. But yeah, Mega Man 2, when I was like 8 years old, came out, and it was like that's my jam. Mega Man 2 for NES, best NES game. I mean, or one of the best NES games. Still good. Came out, they released the pack of all the games on PS4. I just bought it for $15. So, you know, whatever, man. That's like, I'm like an old man watching like his silent movies, being like, this is when films were real films. And I'm like, yeah, this is when 8-bit, man. That was when games were games. Like, just watching Casablanca over and over. That's me. Anyway, you want to open it up to questions from people? Does that seem like a...
Let's hear it.
All right, guys, if you guys have any questions, submit them and we'll bounce them. Well, here, I'm on camera now. If you guys have any questions, submit or type them down in chat, and we will bounce them back and forth and try to answer your questions. And we just got to wait for the 10-second delay here for people to hear us, man.
Yeah, so until
we're having like a conversation right now. I'm not even sure people are listening to us.
I don't think so. I really don't. But what's your favorite Julio?
I believe it's what's your favorite, Julio. He's not
yeah, they're still not talking about
who his favorite Julio is. I don't know if I have a favorite Julio. It's probably Julio Roberto Letron Cardona.
Julio Jones.
Oh, he's yeah. Who's your favorite football team? You watch football, sports guy?
Well, my favorite football team doesn't even exist anymore. It was the St. Louis Rams.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
The NFL is a dirty, dirty league, man. They'll do you bad. They're bad. I mean, I'm a Bills fan, so my team might as well not exist.
You're gonna have a new coach pretty soon, so
God, I hope so. God, I hope so. Please get rid of both of the Ryan brothers in their traveling circus. I want them gone. It's just anything. All right. All right. So you're still listening, guys. Do you have any questions for us? I'm feeling like people maybe they don't. I'm gonna just I'm gonna type it.
Yeah, if you ask in the chat, maybe they will.
All right, there's one. Go ahead, man. What's your least favorite film stock?
So I haven't. Some days it's Ektar.
Yeah, that's legit.
Yeah, and then some days that's my favorite. So, I haven't shot a ton. I'm going to go ahead and say of the ones I shoot 4 main films. Ektar, Velvia 50, then Black and White Delta 100, and HP 5+.
Did you see the question that just popped up in the chat, by the way?
Why are you so dreamy? Maybe he's been having too many beverages.
I'm kind of insulted by that question.
Yeah, this is your channel, by the way.
I know, yo. If anyone gets here. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Well, I don't even know where I was now. Okay, so out of the
hot and flustered.
I'm blushing over here. Out of the 4 that I shoot, I've really tried to like HP 5, but it's just too grainy for me. I mean, part of the reason of shooting large format is to get these crystal clear images, and it's not a super grainy film, but for my standards and the way I shoot, it is.
So I've never shot it in terms of grain compared to something like. Well, have you ever shot Tri-X?
I've shot it on 35 millimeter. Loved it.
It's similar to Tri-X or not as because Tri-X is grainy as hell. Like, but it's good. It's good grain.
Yeah, I would say less so. Again, I think I've only shot 1 or 2 rolls of 35 millimeter HP 5. I would say less so than Tri-X, but I don't have a ton of experience in that area.
Okay.
What's your least favorite?
Least favorite? I mean, I don't know. I find something to like about pretty much every film that I shoot, I think. I'll put my in general, it was Ektar for a long time. And then I found a way to make Ektar work because Ektar's biggest advantage to me is that it can give you pseudo Velvia in scenes where Velvia just can't work. I think the thing about film is that every film can be your least favorite film in the wrong circumstances. Like Velvia can be horrible if you're in a spot with like a ton of contrast and a big dynamic range. Portra can be ugly if you're applying it to the wrong things. Provia can be difficult. I would say Provia is probably Provia might be my least favorite just because it's so, and I don't really mean it in this way because I like Provia, but it's very it can be very vanilla in sort of a way where like it sort of brings what Velvia brings to the table, but it's not as punchy and it doesn't have the dynamic range of something like Portra. So I like Provia, but maybe if I were gonna just scratch one film from my itinerary forever, that might be the one. But I do like it. I'm not trying to say I don't like it, because I do like I like Provia.
Yeah, you shoot more types of film than I do.
I try to just try a bunch of them. I mean, it's easy. You shoot primarily medium or large format, so it's more of an investment. Buying 120, you can just flit around and try a bunch of different stuff and see what you think. In Provia, for me, McGreevy, where I get my photos developed in Albany, they had a bunch of it that was expired, so they sold me like 4 of them for the price of 1. So I just bought a bunch of Provia and shot it. And I like it. Like, I like how it looks, but it can be a mixed bag. It's Slam Dunk Studio to contrast with that. What's your favorite film to shoot, Alan?
Velvia 50, not even close.
Have you shot Velvia 50 in 4x5?
That's all I shoot in 4x5. Or that's the only Velvia I shoot in 4x5.
You get it from like Japan exposures?
eBay. It's always from Japan. Okay. On Facebook, if anybody's watching that shoots large format, there's like a group that every so often this guy will place a bulk order. That he gets it from Japan. But I mean, with Velvia, just it's so when you look at it on the light table, it's just like you're looking at the actual scene. Just the way it handles colors, and some people don't like it because they think it's too saturated. And in the right circumstances, it definitely is. But it can be a fairly realistic looking film too. I think if you're in relatively flat lighting, then Velvia can be very realistic. But it's just the perfect amount of punch for me. Super easy to scan, and that's a big deal for my workflow too.
Yeah. Fun thing I learned today: both Velvia and Ektar are both portmanteaus, just like mashups of different words, which is kind of funny. Velvia is Velvet Media, and Ektar is Eastman Kodak Tessar. Yeah.
Well, I know, like Kodak, they used Ektar before. Like I think you even said in the video there was a version of Ektar before this Ektar.
Yeah, it was a 35 millimeter only, I believe, though. Was released in like the 90s. The current iteration of Ektar dates to it's like 2009. It's like a super modern film, which is why it's so fine grained. And I think when Kodak says it's easy to scan, I think that's what they mean, because otherwise it is not easy to scan.
No, it's so impossible.
It can be. It can be.
Yeah, it can be. What's your favorite?
Yeah. My favorite film, I guess I'll click over to me. And again, it's tough. So when Velvia works for me, it is stunning. The downside to me with Velvia is when you scan it, you do lose some of the appeal in, when it's no longer on that positive, when it's no longer on that slide and you're not looking at it. It's also really hard to shoot. I think my current favorite is probably Ektar, which is weird, and because since I didn't like it at all for so long, just because it has a very unique, exciting look, but it's certainly easier to manage than slide film. So I would say probably Ektar. I love Tri-X. Like, I've always loved Tri-X. It's grainy, it's noisy, it's gritty, but it to me represents film in a way no other stock does. Like, people see that and they're like, that is a film photograph. And there's a certain amount of magic. Like, there's that, is it Monet who painted the pictures with the little dots, and you get up close and it's a dot. Like, when you zoom into a Tri-X image and it's you can see the dots, you can see the grain that's composing the image. And to me, there's something kind of magical about that. I don't know, certainly not the highest resolution film, certainly not, the most professional looking film, but there's just something about it that I find kind of appealing. It's also like idiot proof. You can overexpose it, underexpose it, whatever, and save your images pretty well.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was I was gonna say that's the case with, I think a lot of black and white films are very forgiving. I think if people are getting into film, that's what they should start with.
Like Tri-X, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Dennis Takes Pictures says 35, 120, or large format. What is your favorite to shoot, Alan? Go ahead. I think I know the answer.
Yeah, large format. So like earlier we were talking about kind of what got me into film. My journey of actually shooting film is I took one roll. I owned my large format camera before I owned any other type of film camera. And I thought that maybe I should own cheaper film stocks or smaller formats, kind of get a feel for the way the film worked. So I took one roll of 35 millimeter Ektar and then went straight to large format. That was my learning curve into film. So 4x5 is by far my favorite. I do like sometimes after working with the 4x5 for so long, and then I'll pick up my 35 millimeter camera and snap some pictures of my kids. Like, oh, this is so easy. It's so pleasant just to pick up a camera and be able to aim it, snap a meter reading, and shoot.
Have you ever shot any 6x7 or been interested in shooting 6x7?
In fact, the only medium format film I've ever shot was when my twins were born. I borrowed a Hasselblad from a film and put some.
Oh, nice! For like a 500C or. Yeah,
the square one, the 501 or something like that.
Oh, that's pretty good, man.
Yeah, I like missed focus on 2/3 of the shots. Yeah, so that's rambling, but 4x5 by far my favorite.
Okay. Would you ever consider shooting 8x10? You have to take out a second mortgage, but.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I really don't see a benefit to it. I'm not looking for more resolution, right now my workflow is 4x5 is plenty big enough.
I mean, the benefit would be that it's much more expensive and the camera is much larger and harder to carry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just.
So I've thought about it, and I mean, maybe one day I'll own an 8x10, but yeah, 4x5 is.
A box of 8x10 film is literally close to 10 times as expensive as a box of 4x5 film. It's an outrageous difference.
I don't know if Ben's still on here, but I think Velvia is it's over $400.
Yeah, it's bananas. You can buy a box of Velvia. I guess Velvia 50 you have to ship it in, and so it'd be $100 or whatever. But still, that's pocket change compared to the 8x10.
Yeah.
To answer your question, my favorite format is medium format. I like 4x5 a lot. 35 millimeters easily my least favorite. At the risk of like being like a blasphemer here, I might rather shoot just my my DSLR than 35 millimeter in general. He's shaking his head. You can't see. No, just because like.
So disappointing.
I'm sorry. It's just the quality you get out of it. It doesn't work for me in general. I enjoy it. I like it, whatever. But it's just the quality of images just isn't there in general. With my Pentax 6x7, like I said earlier, that camera just seems to make magic for me. I just love it. Like, you get these incredible images. You get some of the usability of a 35 millimeter camera, and you get. It strikes a relatively fine balance between the quality of a 4x5 image and the usability of a DSLR kind of together into this really kind of addicting package, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I like medium format. I would like to get into shooting large format. Dan said, Eric and Alan, have either of you shot portraits on large format film? I'm going to answer this one right away. I haven't, but keep your eyes open because that's going to be a video in the next month or so. Spoilers. I bought the 210 millimeter Fujinon lens and some black and white Delta 100 to shoot portraits with. So keep your eyes open. I will. Alan, outside selfies, have you shot any?
My very, very first image with 4x5 was of a person. I wouldn't necessarily call it a portrait. But I was just learning the film. That's it. The rest have been landscapes outside of what I just did.
Oh, okay. Julio Roberto Letron Cardona says, Eric, what is the camera you carry every day? I don't, yeah, in all honesty, this is going to be annoying, but it's this one. This is primarily the camera that I carry with me every day. If I'm bringing an actual camera with me, it's the Pentax 6x7. That's the camera that I carry around. If Casey and I go out and I'm like, I want to take some photos of this lady that I cohabitate with when we're going out, then I bring my Pentax, and I've had some pretty good results with it. Alan, what's your go-to camera? What do you carry around with you?
Every day is my iPhone.
Yeah, see, that's what I said.
So
I know it's
okay, but my everyday shooting camera is my Shinhao, which is actually about to be replaced. That thing weighs nearly 6 pounds.
What are you doing with the old one? You want to sell it to me?
Maybe. I bought one of those. You heard of the Intrepid cameras?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Did you back him on when he did his Kickstarter? Or?
No, I bought, he just put out the second generation of that camera. So I bought it. Now, this is kind of mean. That is the ugliest large format camera I've ever seen.
It looks like it's made out of like particle board, right?
Yeah. But the kicker is it weighs less than 2 pounds. And so because I carry everything in my backpack with me, then weight is everything, especially now because I'm starting to branch out and do like genuine backpacking trips with my large format gear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to do what I can to keep my pack under 60 pounds. But so main camera is a Shinhao, but it's about to be replaced.
Just a quick question for you, Alan. What's your how long you got on here, just so I can kind of figure this out? I know we didn't really go over this.
Well, I've got plenty of time. My thing is starting time once kids are in bed. All
right. So I figure we'll do this till 11. Does that work for you? And then we'll shut her down.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Cool. So let's go. Alan and Eric's Asian Cheese Toaster says, Alan and Eric, what are your thoughts on Fuji producing and focusing less and less on film? It's tossing it to you, buddy.
Because they make my favorite film, but Fuji is the absolute worst. They hate film photographers, and it makes me so mad. Like, I don't know why they can't just work with us a little bit. I know film is not the most profitable for them, but they're always canceling stocks, and they're always raising the prices on the ones they keep around. I can't stand Fuji. Can't stand it.
Why do I keep hearing? What is going on? Did you like? Am I on mute?
Am I on mute or something?
I can hear you.
Make sure I'm muted.
I'm muted.
Yes. No.
No, you're good on my. I mean,
do you hear like an?
Do you
echo?
hear like an echo?
Yeah. See.
A little bit.
Yeah. What is that?
What is that?
Where did that come from?
Where did that come from?
No, the stream's muted on my end.
It's the weirdest thing.
It's going now.
Yo.
No, I gotta figure out how to stop this. Now I'm
unmuted.
Just check. What the heck? Yeah, where did it come from?
Yeah, Ben logged on and broke it.
I thought I kicked you.
So when I talk, does it have feedback?
No.
No.
All right. So this is why Ben, until you figure it out, this is why Ben needs to be banned. He asked earlier, what is my favorite brand of CR123 battery? The story behind that was in Zion this year, the battery in my meter died like as I was using it, and I pulled out. I always carry spares, so I pulled out a spare, but I had the wrong size. I had bought a CR23 instead of a 123, and so I posted the picture of it online, and he rightfully gave me crap about it, and ever since then, he won't let it go. Very disappointing.
All right. So since I'm
echoing,
why don't you go ahead?
and
Question.
What was the question?
Oh, no, it was the
G one.
Hang on.
Hang on.
Are you watching?
the stream
with the sound on?
Sound on?
No, it's muted.
Huh. Wow.
Wow.
It never just
worked.
Let me see. You're like an echo. This is an actual nightmare. All right. So here. What do you guys think about it? I'm gonna try and figure this out.
I don't know. I don't feel like I can really speak to that too much outside of, can you guys still hear me, by the way? Outside of just like old Polaroids, like decades ago, I've not really shot any instant film, but, what I will say is like any film that's out there that's helping new generations of people get into film, I think is positive. So, in that regard, I think it's a good thing. I don't really think it takes the highest quality images, but like I said, if it's getting people into film, then I think it's definitely worth it.
Am I echoing? Yes.
So yeah, any other questions for me while Eric on his own channel has muted himself? Like I feel like I'm decent at talking on a video where I can clip my own images, but talking live is not something I'm very good at. Instant film is the bee's knees. I have to take your word for it, Dan.
All right, Alan.
Yep.
So I'm gonna echo here.
I
want you to just
look
look at Google
Hangouts
and not and make sure that I'm. I think I'm picking up my or
mic.
So what do you want me to do?
Just make sure. I hate this. Just make sure that I'm muted in the hangout. Yeah, but then I don't know why. Why did this just start causing trouble?
Yeah, I didn't change anything.
No, me either. All right, I'm muting myself.
Hey, somebody had an idea to put headphones on. I'm down with it.
See if it works. So they're plugged in. Oh, there we go. There it is. It's solved. That's what it was, my friend. I don't know why all of a sudden it started like that, but
I still blame Ben.
Hangouts love me. Ben, you can come back now, buddy.
No, I'll blame him.
All right, sorry. Yo, that's gonna be left in because I don't really feel like editing any of these.
No.
All right, guys, questions. Let me go back and see here. That was the issue, though. I don't know why. I'm not viewing the stream, Julio. We just got troubleshooting here. I gotta scroll back a while.
What? Who had that idea? Asian cheese toaster. Yep.
Oh, about Fuji?
No, the idea to put on headphones.
It was a good. I guess to answer the question about Fuji, by the way, if anyone has any other questions, Ben Horn had a question about batteries for you too, Alan. But I guess I understand Fuji's business demands. Fuji kind of marches to the beat of their own drum, and sometimes that can be really great, like with their mirrorless cameras, which are supposed to be just fantastic. Sometimes it can be not so great. I wish that they supported film a little better. When you listen to like what Kodak has said about their kind of, Kodak and Polaroid and stuff wish that they had maybe scaled down film, but maintained it because it is profitable. And I hope Fuji understands that. I don't know how long their films are going to be with us, though, to be honest. So it's too bad. It's sad. But I don't really have any say in it, of course. That's where I stand. Boy Tech says, all right, question. Do you guys print your own, or do you print from your negatives? Alan, how about you? Have you ever done it?
I haven't. Can you still hear me, by the way?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got these noise canceling headphones, so I have no idea how loud I'm talking.
You look like a guy at my gym right now. You just need to hang him around your neck and blast rap music out of him. Don't ever put them on your ears.
I've never printed for my own negatives. That's something I want to do, but I just don't really have the setup to do it right now, or the gear. I don't have an enlarger or anything like that. Eventually, that's the goal. I would like to build a darkroom. I just scan. I develop my own black and white, have my color developed, and then I scan it all.
Yeah.
In school, did you develop or did you print from your negatives?
Yeah, we did. And that was part of the appeal is we printed them on 8x10s and then cut them and matted them and did just the whole process from enlarging them, printing, matting, sealing them with the hot whatever roller thing and creating our own prints. And it was really, really cool. And you can, when you scan a 35 millimeter Tri-X negative, you get one result. When you enlarge it, it's a totally different story. And it's to me a much better looking product if you can do it. Obviously, there's a huge amount of work involved in that, but it's something that I'd be really interested in. The place where I used to develop my own negatives when I lived in Buffalo, SEPA Gallery downtown, they have enlargers and can enlarge even 4x5 film up to huge sizes. And I was a member there, but since I no longer live in Buffalo and I now live in this fine city, I don't have access to that place anymore. But I'd love to go back and do some stuff with that. PJ De Jesus, we just answered that, bud.
Well, the future of film. I mean,
I thought you said Fuji film. Oh, future of film.
Future of film.
I went to school for writing, but I can't read. So that's just all right. Go ahead. Future of film. What do you think, man?
I don't know. Like, I think right now we've kind of reached a balance. Film is never going to be what it once was, but I think it definitely has a place. And one thing that's been hard for me is to judge whether or not film is making an actual comeback, or is it just because it seems more prominent to me now because I pay attention to other film photographers.
The base from when I go to the store and when I talk to people, they say it is like whether that's sustainable or not. I've heard from people who know that it's selling better than it has for 10 years now. So the kids like it.
I think Fuji will bow out within the next 5 years, but I think
I agree with that.
I think Kodak, I think Ektar probably sells really well for them, and then Portra 400. Like, you've got tons of high-end wedding photographers shooting that, and then Ilford, man, they fought through bankruptcy and still keep making film. So I think film's going to be here to stay in a smaller capacity, but it's definitely here.
I think Fuji's probably done soon, which is too bad. So I agree with you on that. I think that Kodak, since Kodak itself is now a very different entity from what it was before, it's owned. It's just the film division. I think they're profitable, so they're going to continue making it as long as it's a thing that people will buy. I think Ilford probably will continue making film, and I think you're going to see things like Ferrania, like Cinestill. So I think film is always going to be available in one form or another. My big concern is that eventually it's going to be more of like an alternative process thing where you're not going to get professional grade stuff, and it's more, for college classes and people who are interested in alternative process, and the same type of people who now are making tin types, will be making 35 millimeter exposures in the future. Maybe worst case scenario. That's my apocalyptic vision. I hope that doesn't come to pass. But if people continue to pick it up and kids like it, and hopefully there's always a space for it. That's what I hope. So I hope Actar's around. I hope the black and white films are around. I hope Fuji decides to keep making film against, all signs to the contrary. So, yeah. Yeah,
Somebody asked.
What? Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just say someone asked what tripod I recommend for. What was it? I guess just what tripod I recommend. I have an Oben, OBEN. I think it's like B&H's kind of in-house brand of tripod. And I don't know what exactly tripod to recommend, but I can recommend not getting that one. So I definitely, people say don't skimp, like spend money on a good tripod. I was like, but I can get away with it. No.
What did it cost? What did you spend on it? If you don't mind me asking.
It wasn't cheap. The legs were $450.
Ooh.
See,
that's more than I spent on my Manfrotto.
My issue is I'm 6'4", so I've got to get like the top of the line just to be tall enough for me.
Yeah, I'm only like 6'3" and a half. Not really. I'm like 5'.
But anyway, what I was going to say is like it came and like the legs would fully tighten down. And so I finally got that. I had to take it apart. I got that worked out. And then like one of the anti-rotation sleeves in there broke. They're like paper thin. And I just refused to buy another one. So just get a Gitzo. If you're going to shoot large format, buy a Gitzo or really right stuff or really expensive stuff, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and I have nothing to add on a tripod because I have a Manfrotto that I spent like $200 on total. So I'd like to get a nicer tripod, but once I hit that Mega Millions, I'll let you guys know which tripod I buy. I'd have to buy a Mega Millions ticket first though, so that's probably not in the cards since I haven't bought a lotto ticket in a decade. All right, let's see. We have any other questions here? I know we're winding down. If you guys have any other ones, please just shoot them out right now. We'll try to answer them. We're going to wrap this guy up in about 10 minutes. Anybody hit us up? This has been, outside of the little technical difficulties midway, I feel like this has been pretty successful. What do you, right? Yeah? Yeah.
Oh, I definitely agree.
Yeah. Yeah, and you live, you learn. And got a Manfrotto tripod. Alan, do you recommend a good source for a large format Velvia 50 since you can't get 4x5 or larger in the States anymore? Some source to be trusted from eBay. Just real quickly, I'm going to let Alan answer this one, but I know you can get it from Japan Exposures. Is it .com? And they sell it for, I think it's like $120, and you can buy large format Velvia 50 from them. Alan, where do you get it on eBay?
Various sellers. I don't have one specific one that I go to. The going rate for it right now is about 120 per box. I'm sure that will go up in the next 10 minutes when Fuji changes the price again. But Yeah, on eBay, or one thing I mentioned earlier, there's a buyers group on Facebook. Let me look that up real quick.
All right, while you look it up, I'm just going to answer. Dennis said, I asked before, how do you handle wanting to shoot film and work to, and having, how do you wanting to shoot, having to work, being a good husband, et cetera, et cetera. Ben's asking, Ben Horn is shit posting you right now. How do you balance being a good husband, et cetera, et cetera? Well, Alan's got kids, so his life is much harder. I just, live with a sweet lady, and she's pretty forgiving. I take pictures of her. If you look and see how grouchy she is all the time, she's pretty cool with it. I try to work it into our activities when we go out and do things. When I did landscapes, I'll take a day and go up and hike by myself. So I don't know. It's never been an issue. How do you balance that work-life photography stuff? Also, Dan, bench press is just gonna hit your tries and your chest. It's not gonna do your total upper body. You got to do some pull works too. Go ahead.
No, you gotta balance that out. You gotta chest one day, arms the next, back, shoulders. You gotta balance
tries,
out.
Back and buys, tries and chest.
Same stuff, it works.
Upper lower split. That's all I've been doing because I'm trying to be less fat now.
Let's see, where was I? The Velvet.
What was that? I was just busy giving workout advice.
So yeah, just search Velvet 50 Film Group Buyer on Facebook. That's a reliable source. Now, what was the actual question?
It was, how do you balance wanting to shoot film, wanting to get out and take pictures with being a good husband, being a good father, work, all that stuff?
I'm a terrible father. Terrible. Just awful.
I got a cat. Well, that's my life.
Yeah, so I don't get to shoot as much as I want, is the simple way to answer that. So I work 4 days a week, so I have Fridays off, so that gives me a little spare time. But I just have to plan things like way in advance. Like I'm already kind of looking at dates for next year's Zion trip. I come home, feed kids, put kids to bed, have a little time with the family, and then I'll go down. My spare time thing right now is working out, and I'll do a little work on YouTube videos. But I just flat out, I don't get to shoot as much as I want to.
It's like Exhibit said, you gotta lift some weights, eat some steaks.
Lots of chicken and peanut butter banana sandwiches.
And Hi-C cola or Hi-C fruit drink.
Yeah. But it's difficult.
And are there any other questions I missed here? I'm just going to scan through here really quickly and see. Future film. There's the whole tech support section. Let me see here. I don't know. Do you guys have anything else for us here? I'm scrolling. I see like we're talking gym workouts. We got about 4 minutes here. We're gonna shut it down here. I eat veggie burgers and choke people out. It works for me. Just gonna let that one percolate. I got nothing to say about that. Yeah, Dan Bowman's a big Exhibit fan. I liked him when he hosted Pimp My Ride. All right. I'm not seeing any questions here, so I think we're going to shut it down. Do you have anything else you'd like to say before we go, Alan, to the people who joined? Because it was really cool. I really appreciate everyone showing up. What's in the future for you, Dan? Or Dan's talking about Exhibit. Alan, what's in the future for you? What are you hoping to do with the channel? And do you have anything to say to people?
I'm having a lot of fun with the channel right now. I want to be consistent with it. I'm never going to put out tons of videos because the aforementioned just too busy. But I've got a really, really fun trip, hopefully to coincide with Zion next year. I'll leave it a bit of a mystery, but that's going to kind of be a big deal. I've got some kind of big production things planned for that I would like to do, but it's going to be very difficult.
Getting that drone going again, I assume.
100% the drone will be involved.
All about that drone life, right?
Absolutely.
Eric always has the best 5 o'clock shadow. Well, thank you. It's what I got. Should I start a channel? That's the question. No, Dennis, you should not, because there's only room for a few. Dan says go for it. Yeah, start a channel, man. We'll collaborate. You live close to me. We can work on something. Mark says, Eric, why are you so dreamy? Just my parents are both they're great. Yeah, that's it. And I basically went into the future of what I'm doing earlier. I'm hoping to get some more contents up soon. Yeah, the people who've sent me stuff, I really appreciate it. Like I said, I shot some macros today. That'll be going up. If you guys are bored and you're looking, check out my Instagram later tonight. I'll throw some of those photos up and you guys can take a peek at them. But I want to thank you, Alan, for coming and doing this. I really appreciate it. I'm hoping once I get the kind of the stuff nailed down a little bit more, this could be the start of sort of like a podcast thing. So I really appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed it. Ben Horn wants to know if you plan on growing a beard.
He's probably my least favorite photographer.
If you have. All right. Do you have anything to add before we shut her down tonight?
Check out Ben Horn on 500px. He's popular there.
Yeah, he's been uploading photos all the way up to 2012. Just Wojtek real quick. The beverage of the nights. I didn't drink the whole bottle. I gave a glass to my lady. It's the Goose Island Sophie. It's a Belgian style farmhouse ale. It's delicious. It's got a little bit of a sour taste to it, but it's a delicious fresh brew. Got the equivalent of probably 2 beers out of that. So yeah, thank you both for thank you, Alan. Thank you guys for showing up. This one, even with the technical difficulties and everything, will be archived on the channel, and I'm gonna save a copy so that Alan can mirror it to his channel. So Alan, wave goodbye to everybody. Say thank you. Say good night.
It's been fun.
The wheels are coming off. All right. Thank you guys so much. More content coming on my channel. I'm sure more content coming on Alan's channel. It's great. See you soon.
See ya.